Hello everyone, my name is Amelya and my student number is 134. In today's video, I would like to present my analysis about poverty and desperation in the poem Morning at the Window by T.S. Eliot. This video is made for a submission of my poetry class B. First of all, I would like to present a brief information about the poem. And here is the poem. The poem Morning at the Window is written by T.S. Eliot in 1914 and published in 1917. This poem is a modern period poem that is unrhymed and contains 9 lines and 2 stanzas. It depicts the life of people in city slums. This poem also uses the point of view of an anonymous person, observing his or her settlement surrounding and the people there. And here as well, I want to explain a brief information about the poet T.S. Eliot. So, Thomas Stearns Eliot, born in 1888 and died in 1965, he was an American-British modern period poet that gained Nobel Prize in Literature and Order of Merit in 1948. In his works, Eliot was strongly influenced by French poets, especially by Charles Baudelaire and Jules Laforgue. And other than Morning at the Window, Eliot's most famous works also includes The Wasteland, 4 Quartets, and The Cocktail Party. Aside known from his poetry, Eliot also involved in the field of literary criticism. Here is the summary of my analysis about the poem, as well as the focus of the analysis. So, Morning at the Window is a poem that depicts issue about destitution of working class. The poem uses the point of view of a person that describes what he or she sees objectively, or in another meaning, he or she does not reveal what he or she feels. The poem uses several elements and literary devices to depict the meaning of the poem, which are metaphor, symbol, and imagery. The analysis here focuses on these elements and devices that depicts to these issues within the poem. Here is the theme of the poem. So the poem Morning at the Window shows an issue of destitute and despair that happened to poor people of city slums. The poem includes many aspects that builds the depiction of the working class. Aside of that, the poem also speaks about the hard work the working class used to do on the corresponding era, all of which is taken from an observer of a person, lead to the main theme as a concern toward poverty and desperation in the lives of the working class in the city slums. And then here we enter to the elements and devices in analyzing the poem. I include 4 within this presentation, which are metaphor, symbol, and 2 kinds of imagery. The first to be talked about is metaphor. So, metaphor is the comparison of an object that is not made explicitly as its literal meaning. On the other word, it is indirect meaning that refers to object others than what it is, which also excludes clues. The use of metaphor in the poem is shown in stanza 1, line 1. They are rattling breakfast plates in basement kitchens. The word basement refers to the working spot, or it also could refer to the settlement of the working class. The other metaphor is also found in stanza 1, line 3. I am aware of the damp souls of housemaids. The word housemates refer to the working class, who, of course, to its name, works. The next is symbol. It is a concrete object used to represent an abstract idea. The use of symbol in the poem is shown in stanza 1, line 1. They are rattling breakfast plates in basement kitchens. And once again, the word basement also symbolizes the low condition of the working class workspace and also can symbolize poverty. Another symbol is in stanza 2, line 1. The brown waves of fog toss up to me. The brown color can symbolize the filthiness and despair that is felt to the people. The fog also symbolizes confusion that is felt between the reality or the fantasy the observer may experience. The other symbol is found in stanza 2, line 2 and stanza 2, line 4. Twisted faces from the bottom of the street and an aimless smile that hovers in the air. Twisted faces and an aimless smile symbolize the frustration and emptiness depicted on the people or on the working class by the observer. And then to the imagery. Imagery is the use of figurative language to evoke vivid descriptions that appeals to the reader's sense and imagination. Here I mention two kinds of imagery, which are auditory imagery and visual imagery. So auditory imagery appeals to reader's sense of hearing. The use of sounds in the poem can be seen in stanza 1, line 1. The words rattling. The use of word rattling creates an imagination about particular sound in the reader's mind. This rattling sound also indicates the business working people is doing down the basements. And then visual imagery. This imagery appeals to reader's sense of sight. And the use of visual objects in the poem can be seen in stanza 1, line 3. The dumb souls of housemaids. And this dumb soul word creates an image of someone or something that is in grief sad, within, of course, the imagination of the readers. This word also indicates the unhappiness that is seen on the working class people life. So the next part is about general and detailed meaning of the poem. So first, in general meaning, the poem Morning at the Window tells about the hard life of the poor who should go even after the daily hard work within the same repetition. It also includes the concern of the observer about the life of the working class, shown on how the observer describes all he or she watches, even the bad ones. And in detailed meaning, the poem Morning at the Window also presents issues about not only poverty, but also about despair and emptiness that the working class people feel as the result of poverty. Life in the slum also described as a terrible matter within the poem. However, in the title, the morning word, it contradicts inside the poem. This morning word on the title symbolizes hope and new beginning. However, within the poem, and the truth of the working class is that many of them live in basement, in which basement does not have windows, and it can infer that it suggests that the morning for the working people will be nowhere to come. And then at last we reach the conclusion. To conclude, the poem Morning at the Window shows the destitute of the poor in the growing urbanization. Toned in gloom and sorrow, the poem uses the observer's objective image throughout the poem. The images of the destitution, strengthened by the metaphors, symbols, and imageries that carries meaning and depiction of poverty, desperation, and the hard work of the working class. And here are the references for this presentation. And by this I should end the video. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.